Na, 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 na. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye. Yes, indeed. Storm clouds are gathering around Pam Bondi. Yeah, the Attorney General, they say, will soon be severed from the Trump administration. That's westernjournal.com. Our buddy Jack Davis over there doing a great job highlighting this. You know, I don't really like Pam Bondi. She was the one that's the Attorney General from Florida and all this stuff. And, you know, they made it sound like she was going to be great, that she was going to arrest people and get to the bottom of all these scandals. What have we seen from Pam? As far as I can tell, nothing. She was the one that wanted to take the guns first, due process second. Now, that's a constitutional violation, Pam. Due process is vitally important, and thou shalt not be infringed. What part of that, when it comes to the Second Amendment, do you not get, Attorney General? Just saying. So I'm excited to see Pam go. The sooner the better. Should have done it a long time ago. Should have never hired her in the first place, I might say. But in addition to that, who are they going to put in Pam's place is the real question that I have. And I'm telling you right now, I bet Trump will just pick some other clown insider. What he really should do is pick somebody like Mark Lamb, sheriff of Arizona, or maybe Richard Mack, former sheriff of Arizona. You know, these guys are both former sheriffs that do a great job. Maybe David A. Clark Jr., maybe Dar Leaf, maybe Bob Songer. You're talking about hero sheriffs, Scott Williams, you know, guys like that could really take care of business. That's what I'd love to see. Anyway, there you have that. Now, this is interesting. Republican Idaho governor. The guy's name is Brad Little. And I haven't really been a fan of Brad Little because I think he's kind of a neocon for the most part. That's just my opinion. He should be protecting people like Pam Bondi and others when the hospitals unfairly went after Pam Bondi for his free speech. That's just my opinion. But anyway, the governor, Brad Little, has done a good job here, and he deserves a little bit of credit. He signed what's called House Bill 752. That's Idaho House Bill 752 into law. What does the bill do? It prohibits the use of public bathrooms designated for the opposite sex. Yeah, it makes such use a misdemeanor at first, punishable by up to a year in county jail. Okay? So if you go into the wrong bathroom, if you're a man and you go into the women's bathroom or vice versa, you know what? It's a misdemeanor. You can go to the county jail for a year. Repeat offenses within 5 years are classified as felonies, potentially leading up to 5 years in state prison. Wow. The bill was introduced in late February, and I guess it passed the Idaho House in a vote of 54 to 15. 54 to 15. And in the Idaho Senate, 28 to 7. That's pretty good news, right? In my opinion. Now, they say that this bill was authored by Senator Scott Herndon, and the legislation does include a couple of exceptions for janitorial and emergency situations, but none for individuals with gender dysphoria. I think this is really good. So I get that a janitor might be a male and he needs to go in and clean the bathrooms. I understand that. Usually, you know, they make sure nobody's in there. Then they put up a sign and they're like, hey, we're cleaning the bathroom. I mean, a lot of times women are cleaning men's bathrooms too. I don't really see a problem with that. And then they say for emergencies. And I assume, what if somebody passes out when they're in the bathroom and medical attention is needed or whatever? I mean, I agree with those exceptions. They say the bill will take effect on July 1. So that's good news. And I got to give Brad Little some credit here. Now, I don't know if there's devil in the details. I haven't read the bill. I just saw the news and thought it was pretty good. There's like 19 or 20 other states that have laws on the books now that are defending this gender issue. In other words, you know what? Dudes are dudes and chicks are chicks. It's that simple, okay? It's backed by science, and it's backed by God's declaration that he created male and female, right? So there is a binary according to God, and there is a binary according to science. And these people who want to think otherwise can think that all they want to, but it isn't the facts. It doesn't square with scientific knowledge, and it doesn't square with God's law. But again, they have the right to be wrong, and we don't need to be mean and unkind to them, but we do have the right, the obligation, the duty to stand tall. We have the duty to say, you know what? Guys are guys and girls are girls, and it's that simple. And we'll be kind to you, but we're not going to cave the argument to you. We're just not doing that, right? All right, there you have that. And the problem with this situation is this, though. I don't really know how this is going to work because there needs to be a little bit more exception when, we're talking about guys and girls' bathrooms. Let me give you an example. Mom takes little Johnny, who's 2, into the bathroom, and mom, of course, goes into the women's bathroom, and Johnny's there. Now, Johnny's a boy in the girls' bathroom. Is that an exception too? I don't really know. I didn't see anything in the story that illustrates that, but that's an example. Or let's say that Tina's a little girl and she's, 3 and she has to pee really bad. And so dad takes her into the boys' bathroom and helps his little daughter go to the restroom or something like that. I think there needs to be a little bit more maybe exceptions to this, but I commend them for standing tall on the truth relating to gender. And I'm protecting innocent people, vulnerable people in bathrooms, primarily girls and women, from whacked out men pretending they're women and going into these bathrooms. Many times they're not doing it because they really have gender dysphoria. They're doing it because they're pervs. They're doing it because they want to, get in the girls' bathroom. That's why in all these locker rooms, you have these situations where these men go in there and then they, girls and see the men's body parts and they're kind of freaking out and they're, and the man, oftentimes this happens in jail or in locker rooms and things like that. The man's doing it on purpose. He knows full well what's going on. See, that stuff's wrong. So how do you handle that? It's very difficult. And I appreciate these states passing these laws. We need to be very careful about them with some of the exceptions and such, but I commend them for the most part. What I really like are these family bathrooms personally. Okay, where it's like, hey, this is a family bathroom or whatever you call them. Sometimes they're, bathrooms for handicapped or whatever, but, family bathrooms, because then, you know what, you just go into the bathroom, they're small, and so you don't have people in the wrong bathrooms. I mean, a man can take his daughter in there if he needs to, and she's little or disabled and help her and vice versa. And there's nothing perverted about any of those kind of things. Or a mom can take 3 little kids in and let them all 3 go to the bathroom and, or a dad, and it's fine. So, I like those family bathroom kind of ideas a lot better. I think they're a lot safer, a lot more appropriate. But anyway, I support this legislation, and I say good for Brad Little, good for the great state of Idaho for standing tall on this issue. And I hope the exceptions the fly in the ointment doesn't become the problem, so to speak. I learned about some people who got this book about how the drag queen, there's this little book that kids are getting in government schools right now. The drag queen's hips go swish, swish, swish. And it's a book, I guess it's kind of like patterned after the wheels on the bus go round and round, right? And now it's this drag queen's hips go swish, swish, swish. And it's a book. And, at first you say it's not perverted. It doesn't talk about sex or anything else. It's just the fingers go snap, 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 and the hips go this and that. And at first it sounds like it's no big deal. But when you start to realize that this drag stuff relates to this gender dysphoria issue at the very heart of it. And so it's not just theater. It's not just kind of clown stuff. It's children being groomed, in my humble opinion. Because it starts out with just, the drag queen's hips, like the wheels on the bus. It sounds innocent enough. There's not sex in the book or anything like that. But what it does is it acclimates children to what is a drag queen. Well, it's a man that dresses up as a woman. And then, how long is it till the sex part starts up, and stuff. It's very problematic. And the big debate isn't if there's sex in that book. The big debate is, are we grooming children when we acclimate them to drag queens first? As innocent as it may be. And then later the drag queens get more and more salacious as the kid gets older. And, what's a drag queen in the first place, right? I mean, define a drag queen, right? I mean, if I go right now to Chat GPT, just say, and I say define drag queen, right? What do we get? And that's kind of the problem is they want you to believe this is all innocent. But the problem is it's not. A drag queen is typically a person, usually a man, who dresses in exaggerated female clothing, makeup, hairstyles, mannerisms. It's a, quote, form of performance and entertainment, they say. Drag is most often associated with stage shows and live performances, comedy and satire, lip syncing and dancing, theatrical costumes and character work, fashion and pageantry. But it's often larger than life. Drag equals theatrical gender performance. Okay? But they say that it's not the same as being transgender. But see, all these terms start out innocent and then turn, in my opinion, satanic in a hurry. Now, I'm going to get attacked for that, but I think it's wrong when God says and science says men are men and women are women, and then we want to pervert that. It's dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. Just know that, okay? Hang on, I'm Sam Bushman, Liberty Roundtable Live.
Looking for an IT partner that truly understands your needs? Managed IT Services is the answer. We meet with you regularly to discuss your goals and form a tailored technology plan. Our customers have called us a trusted advisor who delivers. When it comes to IT, we do it all. Firewalls, cloud storage, server migration, and more. Say goodbye to long-term contracts and hello to a team that earns your business month after month. Call 801-706-6980 now and let Managed IT Services transform your IT experience.
Have you ever had great honey? No, I mean really good, all-natural, raw honey? Well, now you can, thanks to localhoneyman.com. We can ship out our locally made honey all across the U.S. So don't worry, you won't miss out. Plus, Local Honeyman has so many different flavors, like Utah Wildflower, High Desert Delight, Happy Valley, and Blackberry, just to name a few. So purchase your delicious raw honey today at localhoneyman.com.
I believe there will come a time when we are all judged on whether or not we took a stand in defense of all life from the moment of conception until our last natural breath. As a teenager, I gave my first public speech in my church. My hand shook, my heart pounded. I thought to myself, I can't do this, but somehow I did, and because I wanted to talk about things that were important, I persisted. I chided my church as a senior in high school for not seeming to care about the not yet born, for looking the other way, and for not taking a stand on life.
I will be in earnest. I will not equivocate, and I will not excuse. I will not retreat an inch, and I will be heard.
One thing I promise you, I will always take a stand for life.
I mentioned adios to Pam Bondi. Yeah, they say that she's going to be severed for the Trump administration. I say it couldn't happen any sooner, if you ask my opinion. But there's a class action lawsuit that has been filed in federal court now in Florida by several individuals involved in the January 6th, 2021. They call it a riot, but I'm going to call it an event at the U.S. Capitol. Okay? Members of the Proud Boys are involved in this and others. The plaintiffs are now seeking tens of millions of dollars in damages from Capitol Police and the Washington, D.C. police force. Why? Because they used excessive force with non-lethal cloud control tactics. For example, the rubber bullets that they fired at everybody, innocent people. Why would you fire bullets at them? Don't know. Pepper balls, rubber bullets, pepper balls, chemical spray, and flashbangs. I don't know if you know that flashbangs were even used. We have video of this thanks to Revolver Magazine, thanks to the folks that The Blaze has done with some of the reporters there. We're getting more and more evidence of this thanks to the Epoch Times and the incredible reporting they've done on this thing. I mean, there's been a bunch of great reporters taking care of business on this. The plaintiffs claim these projectiles were fired recklessly at individuals who were not assaulting police officers and who were not breaching barricades. Now, Ray Epps was breaching barricades and doing all kinds of things, but he seems to somehow have special privilege protection, doesn't he? Why does Ray Epps have special privilege protection? Don't know. We've dug into that on this broadcast in prior episodes big time too. Named plaintiffs in this thing include A.J. Fisher, Patrick and Marie Sullivan, Craig Bingert, I guess is how you say it, Christopher Worrell, I think is how you say it, and others. The case which contends that the protesters were mainly peaceful before the police extreme response occurred. And that's really, as far as I can tell, true. Well, anyway, the case has now been assigned to U.S. District Judge Paul Byron, I think is how you say it. And I don't know. The proposed class of people involved in this could include other high-profile January 6th defendants. I don't know if Stuart Rhodes will get involved in that. I got to catch up with Stuart, too. Dear friend, haven't heard from him in a long time. Pray he's doing well. But again, this is where I thought Pam Bondi would take action. I thought Trump would really get back in office and look into this. And you know what? Prosecute the government for their involvement. Find out what really happened. All we've found out is more and more and more evidence, but no more accountability as far as I can tell. I mean, has anybody in the government gone to prison? What about the guy that shot Ashley Babbitt? We had to pay out millions in that case. Taxpayers had to pay. And now you get this information where more and more evidence. Why is the government firing these pepper balls and projectiles and all these flashbangs and everything else at innocent people? So the government cranked things up big time, and that's something the Democrats in their coverage did not cover. And we thought Trump would get to the bottom of it. Pam Bondi would get to the bottom of it. Kash Patel would get to the bottom of it. And all we now find out is, hey, they lied. They wanted you to believe no FBI agents were involved. And now we know many of them were. We don't know how many. We don't know. Well, most of them weren't on official duty, Sam. Okay, well, what does it take, though, for me to say, hey, we're in the FBI? I don't want you guys to be on official business, but you need to be there. Hint, hint, your job depends on it. I mean, I don't know. But there's a notable separate case, folks, that's mentioned in this case now that involves multi-million-dollar settlement. That was reached last year. Yeah, that's for the murder of Ashley Babbitt. She was, of course, fatally shot by a Capitol police officer. And is he going to be in any trouble? See, this is what I mean. Trump, Bondi, Patel, they haven't done anything about this that I can see. Now, I could be wrong. I don't mean to act like I know everything, but I'd like someone to show me. I mean, who's gone to jail over this? How much truth-telling has come out about this? We need to see the truth on the government side of the story, don't we? We need answers. And we need them fast, because if we don't get answers by the midterms, folks, we're going to lose the House and the Senate. When I say we, meaning the Republicans. I'm not a Republican, but I say we because I'm thinking there's some at least decent people there. We haven't got to the bottom of any of that with the January 6th thing. We haven't got to the bottom of any of, the scandals with the COVID con scenario, the Fauci facade. Rand Paul has been the only one to try to hold Fauci accountable. I haven't heard Trump do that. What about the Jeffrey Epstein files? We've got a lot of weird stuff released. Millions of pages, but there's millions of pages still to go. Pam lied to us and got caught lying. She said she had it on her desk, and then she went, what? We don't have a list. And then we backtracked, and then Trump kind of was for and against and flip-flopped and melted down. And now we have a lot of Epstein information, but a lot of it's not helpful. So-and-so did this and that and that and that, and it's evil. But you don't know who so-and-so is. You don't know what emails are from whom. You got all kinds of weird things that people are involved in it, but yet when you dig in, there's no real involvement, but yet their names were mentioned. And I mean, it's a disaster. We don't have answers on Charlie Kirk. We don't have answers on JFK. Now we claim we're going around the moon. Interestingly enough, they talked about that on April Fool's. Was that an April Fool's joke? My daughter brought that up. Then serious people are like, how dare you say that? But the problem is you can't trust government, ladies and gentlemen. You just can't trust these clowns. That's the problem. We thought we'd be able to, trust things when it was the Trump administration. But now we're finding out you can't trust Pam. You can't trust Cash. You can't trust Trump. You can't trust Kristi Noem. I'm just saying it's a disaster, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're at war. Gas prices are up. Stock market's down. Many people that I know that are very wealthy say they have lost millions in the stock market now. Oh boy, folks, it's not looking good economically. Interest rates aren't dropping. They're staying quite high. Now the housing market's in trouble because prices are so high and the interest rates are so high. Many people can't even move who need to or want to for certain reasons because, hey, they've got a killer interest rate. I'm one of them on my house, and now I can't move because my interest rate will just go through the roof if I do. So I'm virtually stuck now. All right. Anyway, there's an unofficial social media account, ladies and gentlemen, but it's tied to the Republic of Somaliland, or however you say that. Somaliland? I don't know how you say it. Anyway, it's calling for the extradition of Democratic Minnesota Rep. Ilhan Omar, I guess is how you say her name. Alleging that she committed immigration fraud when she married her brother. Vice President J.D. Vance is the one that kind of put the focus on this thing. He claimed on the Benny Johnson show, I think last Friday, that Omar facilitated the U.S. migration of her brother. I don't know how you say his name. Ahmed Nursen Elvi or whatever. I don't even know. By marrying him in 2009. Describing it flat out as fraud. That's what J.D. Vance, vice president, said. So I'm not here to judge the details of the story. I'm just telling you what's in the news. Now, he's describing it as fraud. He's saying that she married her brother. We've heard those allegations for a long time. The Republic of Somaliland, it's a partially recognized state, whatever that means, voiced on X that the deportation would nearly send Omar back to her kingdom, preferring extradition instead. Vance now discussed investigative steps with the White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller. So Miller and Vance talking about this. Well, Omar, according to the Daily Mail, married her brother after she separated from her first husband. Anyway, I guess there was an alleged affair, so she got divorced and remarried and divorced and this and that, and it's a scattered mess. Omar, of course, has denied the allegations of marrying her brother. But the bottom line is this extradition request from this unofficial account underscores a backdrop. That what do you do with this? She supported the Somali population in Minnesota, even though they've literally fleeced the American people for billions of dollars. But again, here's the question. J.D. Vance, right? And White House Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, are they going to get to the bottom of this? Are we going to just have talk and the American people just be incensed about this horrible, weird thing? Or are we going to take action and create real accountability for this? I mean, this lady literally married her brother and is playing games with immigration, and she's in Congress? Are we going to really do anything about this and have real accountability or no? I don't know. All I can tell you is it's disaster unless we take action and create transparency. I want the truth, and then I want accountability. I think the American people are sick of no transparency and no accountability. Don't you? All right. Thanks for being alongside for the ride. Hopefully it's news the networks refuse to use. I'm Sam Bushman. We are syndicated by LibertyNewsRadio.com. Check that out. You can check out our videos on YouTube and Rumble and X and just about everywhere. Also, we're available at LibertyRoundTable.com. God save the Republic of the United States of America.